What's up, folks? Pete58 with a special Halloween episode of Is It Real? Now, I love Halloween. I'm sure every kid in America still does. And any adults out there, I wondered, when you celebrated, do you remember your parents, saying, don't talk to strangers. They're wandering around. This is their night. And to, make sure to, stay with a group of friends and make sure not to eat any of the candy until you got home. There could be razor blades and, the Snickers bar, and anyone who, was a kid and was afraid, they wouldn't eat it. I know I didn't for many years. And when I grew up, I always paid attention to the news, and I would see it on like October 30th or the early evening on the 31st. Sometimes even on CNN there would be newscasters warning parents, you got to check the kids' treats after they come home. There could be a syringe in there, back in the 90s when that happened to Pepsi or something. Now, never once in my life did I ever hear afterwards of anything ever being found in, a kid's Halloween treat, or some kid getting snatched, or someone dying from tampered Halloween treats. I just never heard it, and even as an adult, like I said, I would pay attention for it on the news, but I'd never hear it. So I began to wonder, if any of this was real, or, just irrational fear, like, getting hit by lightning. Is it something that actually has ever happened, or, it's just something somebody made up, and it just, got a life of its own. Well, during my research, I came across Joel Best, a professor of sociology and criminal justice at the University of Delaware. Now, he did a report titled Halloween Sadism, and he found about 80 cases dating back to 1959 in which some kind of sharp object, a needle, a razor, was found in Halloween treats. Only 10 were minor injuries. The worst was a woman requiring a few stitches. Now, Professor Best in his article concluded that after all his research, that virtually all these stories, including the ones with the injuries, they were hoaxes, either done by a parent or child. There's more details to it. I highly recommend you go to a website. I've included the link. It has everything about Professor Best's report. It's a real eye-opener. It's detailed. It has all the statistics, even for things like child sex crimes, how people believe that they actually shoot up during this time of year, and it turns out it doesn't actually. It's the same as it would be during any other time of year, because I believe the police have them leave a note outside their house saying no candy. I don't think they're allowed to decorate or anything, and that pretty much works. As far as I can tell, I don't think that's ever not worked. I haven't heard anybody getting abducted on the news, not recently. This report is a few years old, I believe. It might be more recent, but I think it's only a couple of years old. Now, Jack Santino, another author, he noted in A History of Halloween that in 1967, that was the year of the pins and needles rumor. It really began. There was lots of reports on the East Coast of America and some places in North America with razor blades and pins and needles being in apples and stuff. There was 13 cases reported alone in the state of New Jersey. This was in the New York Times now, in 1967. Now, the New Jersey State Legislature got, so outraged that right before the following Halloween in 1968, they passed a law mandating prison sentences for anyone caught tampering with Halloween treats, apples and candy. I'm not sure how long the sentence was supposed to be, but I imagine it was quite hefty because, it's about kids. Nobody wants to see their kids get hurt, whether it's, a real threat or not. Now, the New York Times also reported that the children had been injured, but the details were murky. I couldn't really find out anything. I dug as deep as I could via the internet on New York Times, and I just couldn't really find any details about that particular story. You see, before the 60s, the greatest fear, I guess, for Halloween and finding something in the candy is poison. Professor Best, he said the idea of pins and needles in treats, the motivation for it was to pull a prank, which is a custom of celebrating Halloween. It's not just about candy and scary stuff. It's it's about having fun, and anybody who goes on YouTube, you've seen that guy. I think he jumps out of a trash can. He tries to scare the other guy, and he gets punched in the head. Well, Halloween's about that. It's about scaring people and making them think there's somebody. Oh, who's that? And, all that stupid stuff. This particular story. Most urban legends that I've researched, before the internet, they work through word of mouth. It's the hand in the hook story, an old urban legend. That's not really an official story. It's not like it was officially covered by a newspaper. This urban legend of pins and needles, you can mostly credit it to the New York Times. I mean, it's really amazing. I've researched a lot of stuff with urban legends, and I haven't come across one that that started in a newspaper. I'm sure there are, but it's just this one is just such a surprise because there wasn't very many details about the story with the 13 cases in New Jersey, and you think maybe there would be because it's the New York Times. It's not like a tabloid paper, but in the end, it seems the story of tampered Halloween treats. It's about as credible as Caledon 21 or the Eagles winning the Super Bowl. And the story, although an urban legend, it survives through fear and cautious parents. It's, as I said, when they're handed down through oral tradition, some of these stories, relating to Halloween, they're going to be meant to scare you or tell a spooky story. This urban legend, like I said, you can credit to the New York Times. It's like it's engaged in its own official campfire tale for adults with young children. I mean, anybody with kids, they're going to be afraid, even if, there's no chance of them ever biting into an apple with a razor blade. It's, it's still scary. Nobody likes the idea of it. And there's always that little bit of caution. And that's what makes this, I think, okay for someone like the New York Times to actually say, oh, this is news, even though it's really not. I mean, it sort of is, but there was no serious injuries, and the few injuries there were just, hoaxes. People probably, trying to have fun on Halloween, I don't know. Outside of that, none of it is real. It's, like I said, it's usually regaled nowadays instead of from a guy by a campfire. It's the local news or, the national news or even Facebook, It scares them into taking their kids to the mall on Halloween, which is silly to me because malls are only scary on Black Friday and on Christmas Eve. And besides, the food court fries, they're much healthier than those juicy apples. They're brimming with juicy goodness and Gillette Mach 5s, apparently. Now, on top of that, it kind of sets fear into our children. We're constantly telling them, our children, don't talk to people. Anyone who gives you a piece of candy any other time of year, don't take it. But, during Halloween, it's okay. Well, it's just one of those things that doesn't really make any sense. We can take strangers' candy, on October 31st, but, on the 1st of November, forget that. I don't know. If I checked my kids' candy, it would be just to steal the Twix bars and the Jolly Ranchers. That's just me, though. I don't know. To each his own. Maybe you're into Twizzlers. I don't know. Well, thanks for watching. I want you to check out all the included links to this episode in the description. You should really, read some more if you're a parent. That way you ease your mind. Halloween's coming. It's supposed to be, fun. You don't want to be paranoid. That's what ISIS is for. All right, please spin dash that like and sub button, and please share this video.